Good evening, AEGEAN 600 race fans. I'm Dobbs Davis with Seahorse Magazine. I'm here to give you the first report of several we're going to do this week, following the progress of the fleet in this great race. We're in the 5th edition of the race. It's run every year, and every year is a little bit different, so we're going to talk about why that is here shortly. As the first show, I want to familiarize everybody here watching that besides following me and how I do this, I want to give you a few tips on how you can do this yourself as well. If you go to the AEGEAN 600 website and go to the link for tracking, this is what opens up. This is YB tracking website. They've got an overlay here of several things of important interest. First of all, I'm going to close a few things so we can see what we're looking at, and then hopefully this makes it a little easier to follow along. If I close that, we'll come back to that in a moment. That's a menu that shows where all the teams are. There is a zoom up here at the top, and then of course you can grab the screen and show the boats and where they are, and we're going to use that quite a bit. So basics. Each of these boats has a tracker, a GPS tracker. It is reporting their position and speed every 30 minutes. So it's not real time, but it's still pretty fast in the scale of a 600-mile race that will take anywhere from 3 to 5 days, depending on the wind, the weather, and the size of the boat. Now, some other tools up here in this menu bar that I think are of interest. The red line that you see is the course. This is what the boats have to sail in order to complete the race. The islands they have to go around, the rocks and other marks of the course. We'll, of course, get into that more in the future, and the way to turn that on and off is up here at the top menu bar with overlays. You kick that button on, and in red, the course shows up. A couple of other things to note is this one with tracks of the boats and where they've been since they turned their GPSs on in time. This can be quite useful. That's no tracks, shows you where they are now, but sometimes it's useful to know where they've been, both in the recent past, as we see here, and historically, as we see there. Now, speaking of historically, down here at the bottom is a scroll bar that shows what has happened in time since things got started today. I'm going to drag this across, zoom in a little bit, and for those not familiar with where we are in the planet, this is the region of Attica here, a peninsula. We're in this area called Lavrion, and over here is the Olympic Marine. This is our shoreside venue, fantastic marina, where all the boats have been for the last few days preparing for this race. At about 2 o'clock today, the multi-hulls were the first ones to get started. And so if we look in time back here, you can see how they've gotten off. The course that they had, the starting area was actually over here. They went upwind, they went around one mark, they went around another mark, and then set off to the south to go down the race course and their first mark of the course, which will be down at the island of Milos. Okay, so that's a basic overview. There's one other thing that I'll bring in a moment, but actually let me show you this menu over here on the left side of the screen. This shows all the teams and information on the teams, some colors for each of the icons that represent these teams. This up here helps turn on and off what classes and what boats you want to see from what classes. And so you can kind of condense this down into looking at boats of interest. I have both multi-hulls and monohulls on here. And at this scale, the most of the monohull fleet at this point in time, this was 15:23 today, local time, and it showed everybody was still going around that second mark to go down the course. The multi-hulls were already out, the maxis were next, and then the fastest monohulls followed by the slower monohulls. So if you want to isolate that, you can turn these on and off. So that's how that works. Okay, so now we're ready for some stories and interesting analysis. I'm going to turn on Maxi. I'll leave multi-hulls on. I'll turn on ORC1 and IRC1 just so we can sort of carry on to understand what's going on and how everybody got here. I will scroll out, and then now we're going to go forward in time. Our local time here is 2030, so this is where everybody is now. Now, as I scroll this out, this was a few hours ago. Everybody was going pretty fast down this. And by the way, we started with 12 to 15 knots of wind, more or less in this direction. Unlike the strong northwesterly Meltemi, this year it's a little bit more northerly. At least it has been in this area. Maybe even a little northeast. So everybody got off to a fast start. Spinnaker's up, heading down the course. If we look at these boats, so for example, Soliag, this boat is ICE 53, 9.1 knots. This is Jean-Yves Thomas's boat. At this point in time, they were on that heading at that speed, going pretty well. One of the faster and largest of the monohulls is Omiko. This is a Swan 80. They were going faster, 10.7 knots. And then so forth. We can actually scroll through all these guys. You can see some other interesting things happening when you look at the tracker. So you say, well, wait a minute, what happened to these guys in the catamaran Baie du Monde? Why is it that they made this deviation? We really don't know, and it would be interesting to speculate. They're not going very fast at this point in the race either, 4.4 knots. We can have some ideas, but using the tracker, we can kind of follow along, see what's happening. Okay, the lead boat at this point in the race was a monohull, the one of the larger, but certainly the fastest Maxi. This is Iolos. This is George Procopio's Volvo Open 70. Here they're double-digit boat speeds, which for a Volvo 70 is not all that impressive. This tells me they probably have 12, probably the same, 12 to 14 knots of wind. Any more than that, this boat would be going much faster. So at this point in time, the boats seem to have almost the same amount of wind speed as they had at the start. But here's the thing. We start running into a wall. Everybody starts slowing down. Why is that? Well, let's turn on this toggle up here, which is wind data. And there's a couple of overlay options. I like to use this one. It's called Windy. This is a forecast prediction tool that shows in clever graphics and, so some graphics, but also colors, what's going on. Now, there's a scale down here at the bottom of this screen when you have the Windy app activated. And blue, as you can see over here on the left, if you can read those numbers, they're a little hard to see, I think, but it's 0, 5, 10, 20, 30, 40 knots of wind. So going from blue through to green towards orange, that all indicates stronger wind. Deeper blue means less wind. As it gets lighter and goes towards green, that's more wind. And what we're seeing here, which is interesting, is back over here, and this is off the race course right now, northeast. There's quite strong normal Meltemi conditions, 20 knots of wind. That's what we're used to seeing out here. And this year, it's something different is happening. I'm not quite sure what. If we scroll out, we could do a full weather analysis based on what's happening. For example, I saw in the AEGEAN, it's quite strong wind, but here in this part of the AEGEAN, it is just light out there right now. The teams are shifting gears. They're shifting into night mode, and they're also shifting into light air mode. So I saw about half an hour ago or an hour ago, Iolos was down to 1 knot of boat speed, and that's pretty remarkable for a Volvo 70. It doesn't take much to get them going, but at 4 knots of wind, they've got something. Now, if we look in detail at what this is, it's quite interesting because while the wind direction up here is out of the north-northwest, over here, what is it doing? Well, these little graphics are indicating that the wind is actually around to the southwest. I've been following this race for 5 years. I've never seen this. I don't know if it's real. The guys locally tell me, oh, that's not real. It never happens. But I can't tell you how many places on the planet I've been with offshore racing and been told time and again, this never happens here. So anyway, it's going to be interesting because this whole fleet, oh, and then you can also see by their orientation, if we zoom in, the fact that they're all not in straight lines anymore, but are kind of wiggling around. That means they're either shifting gears, jibing. They're not tacking for sure, but they might be jibing because the wind that was astern is starting, maybe it backed around. Maybe its direction went from northeast, northwest, around to the west, because certainly it if we believe the windy app, it's going to be westerly down here. So this might indicate what's happening out here for most of the fleet. Is this reality of a shifting wind, a dying wind? It's going to come back up. They're going to need to punch through this light spot in the next few hours. One question that everybody asks is, when are they going to finish? When are they going to get here? When are they going to get there? And of course, the answer is, we don't know. They don't know. They have to work with the wind they have. And it's going to be, in that sense, quite an interesting race. And this is where, the real talented sailors are going to come out. It's going to be frustrating. It's not straight line sailing. They're really going to have to be what a lot of us call night fighters. And a lot of races are won and lost at night in difficult conditions. I'm going to scroll back out for a moment because, and the reason is this, after getting around this island of Milos, they're going to have to go through here. This is a very iconic part of this race course, actually going through the caldera of Santorini. In this wind direction, it will be quite interesting because in years past, they've always been downwind through here with the northwest Meltemi. Now, if we use this scroll bar up at the top of the screen, and we can actually go forward in time. And if, again, believing the Windy app and their forecasting tools, at about this time tomorrow, in fact, let's not go that far. Let's just go a little bit less. So let's say 10:30 tomorrow morning. Those blues are starting to turn green, remaining in this westerly direction. So what is usually a port tack reach from Milos over to Santorini could be a downwind VMG leg in the morning tomorrow, getting over to Santorini. And then later on in the day, just a few hours later, if we scroll forward using this tool, in the afternoon, this could start turning into a high-speed starboard tack reach. It's really interesting. I'm really looking forward to seeing what's going to happen in the next 12 hours in this race. If this weather scenario is what plays out, because again, it's just very different. Scrolling back out, going down here, this is usually the windiest, scariest part of this race course at Kassos and Karpathos, usually a Meltemi with all this fetch, dozens, 100 miles of fetch, gets big waves, big seas, big wind. And this year, again, if we believe what's true here, in fact, let's scroll forward a little bit in time. That is this time tomorrow, 7 July. 8 July, early in the morning. So tomorrow night, it actually could be pretty darn windy down there, right? Pretty solid greens. That's 20 knots, but it's not 25 knots or 30 knots like we have seen in past races. So this is going to be a very interesting race course. I, for one, am looking forward to it. I want to thank you all for tuning in. It's great to have you here for the AEGEAN 600. Again, use this app. Follow us on the social channels that we're going to be putting up. There's some great photos, great videos, and thanks again for tuning in. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow.